So I've been meaning to talk about this book for a long time now. This is The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. In today's video, I specifically wanted to talk about chapter 11 of The Prince. It's called How Prince Should Act to Acquire Esteem. Although this book was written by Machiavelli as a practical guide sort of for politicians and princes in the 16th century, it was basically like the 16th century version of a self-help book. Although that was the case, a lot of things can be extrapolated from this book to apply in our practical lives from day to day in this modern 21st century. Not just for politicians but for people. Now in this chapter 11, he talks about neutrality and the importance to take a side. Not just for a prince, for people in general day to day, to take a side, to take a strong stance, not be a fence sitter. Now Machiavelli argues in this chapter that only that person who isn't your friend is the one that will argue for your neutrality, will actually encourage you to be neutral, to be a fence sitter. On the other hand, someone who is your friend will actually encourage you to take up arms and take a strong stance, to disclose your intentions to him. So how I understand is that someone who isn't your friend, it is in his best interest that you be neutral, you be a fence sitter. Because if you do actually take a good stance, and he probably doesn't expect you to take a stance with him, for him, on his side, right? He only expects you to take either a stance against him or be neutral. So that's why it is in his best interest for you to be neutral. That's why he is arguing, encouraging you to be neutral. So keep that in mind. Only someone who isn't your friend will do that. This actually reminds me of a quote, or rather a concept, a statement, not a literal quote. I'm just paraphrasing here. From the book of Revelations, chapter 3, verse 16, I think. That God spits out the lukewarm. That's exactly what it is. Lukewarm. You're neither hot nor cold. You're neither left or right. You're just a fence sitter. God doesn't want them in your kingdom. Right? In his kingdom. Everybody hates the fence sitters because, see, this Niccolo Machiavelli in this chapter makes a very strong case to not be a fence sitter. It's a lose-lose situation, because if you remain neutral, right, the reason why it's a lose-lose situation is because you neither took the victor's side nor the losing party's side, right? So number one, you have to fear the victor, obviously, because you didn't take his side. Number two, you cannot expect the losing side, the losing party, to give you refuge or help you in that case, because obviously you didn't take his side either. So fence sitter, being a fence sitter is the worst case scenario. So I'll try to divide this into two cases as to why you shouldn't be a fence sitter. Case 1, the party you support wins. In that case, the winning party, the winning guy, let's just call it the winning party. The winning party has an obligation to you, an obligation and a bond of trust and gratitude, right? He's forever grateful to you because he won because of you, right? I'm talking very generally here, not just for princes and politicians. There's a great quote in this chapter, and I'll directly read the quote to you. Men are never so dishonest that they will repress an ally with such a flagrant display of ingratitude. Nor are victories ever so clear-cut that the victor can be completely free of concern, especially for justice. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, except the last part. Nor are victories ever so clear-cut that the victor can be completely free of concern, especially for justice. So the way I interpret it is that he's saying the victories are never that clear-cut, the winning side isn't ever that dominant, that even if he is ungrateful to you, he won't need to fear you, right? Fear you or something for ingratitude, for injustice. I think that is what it means. Again, this is only my interpretation. I feel free to, give this a reading for yourself or correct me in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Now the second case, the party you support loses. It's still nothing really that bad going on, right? It's still better than being a fence sitter. Why? Because you're still in the good graces of one of the parties at least. If you were a fence sitter, you would have been despised by both the parties. But in this case, even if your guy loses, you're still in the good graces of one of the parties, be it the losing one. And why is it not as bad, you might ask? It's because the losing party still has the obligation that because you took his side, even though you lost, right? You can expect him to give refuge to you or help you out, even if they lost, because you still took their side. You were willing to risk it with them, for them. And again, also, since you have taken a solid side, a solid stance, you are still in the good graces of someone who has the potential to rise up in the future. He might win in the future, or not he or she, rather, the party might be successful in the future. You never know. You're still in the good graces of one of the parties. All that to say is that do not be a fence sitter. If you're a fence sitter, if you remain neutral, if you are reluctant to take a side, one, you have to fear the victor, because again, he won't be very keen to take in someone who was reluctant, right? Who was reluctant to take his side. Number two, you cannot really expect the losing side to give you refuge, to help you, to aid you, because again, you weren't willing to risk losing with him. TLDR, don't be a fence sitter. One more interesting concept Machiavelli argues for in this chapter is that if it is such that the two parties are quite weak, that you need not fear the winner, no matter what side you are on, then it is even better to take a side. Because case one, the guy you took side for wins. Then the guy who is winning is not that strong that he could have won without your help, and he will forever be obliged to you through his lifetime. Because one, you are just that strong, and number two, the victor isn't that strong. Plus, you again helped him, because without your help, he wouldn't have been able to win the fight, because of the previous assumption made that the two parties weren't strong to begin with. He also argues that if one of the parties were wise, they wouldn't have taken your help, because according to Machiavelli, if you are a prince, it is, unless it's absolutely necessary, there's no other options left, that's the only option left, you shouldn't ever take help from someone who's that much stronger than you. Because if you win or lose if you win due to his help, which is the best case scenario, you will forever be obliged to him and forever be at his mercy, and that is not a good spot to be in as a prince, as a politician, or as just a normal guy going through his everyday life. The direct quote from the book is, "A prince must avoid ever joining forces with one more powerful than himself to injure others, unless necessity compels you, as was mentioned above. For if you win, you remain his prisoner, and prisoners should avoid being left at the discretion of others as much as possible." One more line I want to read out. "Prudence consists in knowing how to recognize the nature of disadvantages and how to choose the least sorry one as good." Now, the closing lines of these chapters, in my opinion, aren't that important. I discussed the basic crux of this chapter, the basic concept that was being discussed in this chapter, but I'll still read you some of them. A prince should also demonstrate that he is a lover of the virtues by giving hospitality to virtuous men and by honoring those who excel in a particular skill. Yeah, then there are some stuff about a prince should always keep the people busy with festivals and stuff. You know, that one quote by this one philosopher, I forgot the name of, that give the people bread and circus and they will never revolt. It's the same concept. So yeah, these are just the closing lines. I just wanted to discuss the main core concept of this chapter, and I think I have done that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.